Hi guys, and welcome to this month's BakeBox. Now, as you'll know, this month we're making cherry Bakewell cupcakes, which are my absolute favourite. And to get things started, you're going to need your cupcake cases and a cupcake tin or a muffin tin, depending. This is quite a deep one. I've just put my oven on, as per the instructions, to preheat to 170 degrees. So the first thing I'm going to do is just line my tin so it's ready as soon as our mixture's ready. There you go, so once you've lined your tin, you just want to pop this to the side until your mixture is all ready to go. Okay, so on to our cupcakes. Now in my bowl I've put butter part A, so that's for our cakes, and part B will be for our frosting a little bit later. And I'm going to be using a hand mixer today. I've just got a little Kenwood hand mixer, but if you've got, you know, like a freestanding mixer, or if you're old fashioned and you're just using a bowl and a wooden spoon, that's absolutely fine. So I'm just going to give this a quick beat until it's nice and smooth. So there we go, it's lovely and smooth at the sides of the bowl. I'm just going to leave my mixer in there so we don't get anything messy. And then we're going to add in our sugar. So you just want to grab your caster sugar and literally just dump it straight in there from your bag. And then again, we're just going to give this another quick beat until it's all nice and combined. You want it to look like fluffy scrambled eggs. So that's the kind of texture that we're looking for. So there we go, as you can see it's really quite fluffy, but it's nice and combined. So the next step is to get your eggs. So I'm just going to put this at the back. And I have got my eggs in a little bowl. I always recommend that you crack your eggs separately to your cake mix. That's just because I've had a couple rotten ones in the past, and it saves you having to kind of start all over again. So I'm just going to give these a quick beat. And that just helps really get a bit more air into your cake as it's rising. Obviously we want nice fluffy cupcakes, not sad pancakes. So we'll give this a quick there we go, and that's all we want because we're not making meringues. And what we're going to do now is slowly add our eggs and our flour, kind of on and off, one at a time, until they're all in there fully combined. So you want to grab your self-raising flour. I've got mine in a bowl, obviously you'll have yours in your bag. And all we're going to do is bring our main bowl forward and literally just slowly add a little bit of each one. It doesn't have to be, you know, perfect weighed out or anything like that. Obviously everything's weighed out for you, so you just have to add it in a little bit at a time and then give it a mix. So we'll just keep going in that fashion until it's all combined, and then we'll add our special ingredient. So there we go, that's our basis for our cupcake mix. And the next thing to do is grab your tube of almond extract. So into our mix we're going to put our almond extract. So a nice dunk of that, which is going to give our cake a really lovely rich flavour. So we'll just quickly mix this in. So I'm just going to remove the beaters. Make sure that we're not taking too much to waste, and pop these to the side. And then we need to get our cupcake cases back. So I'm just going to slide these in next to our cake mix. And I'm just going to quickly use a spatula to just run around the edges of the bowl and get it all together so none goes to waste. Although I'm sure those of you with children will want them to, they'll want to lick the bowl. So we've got our cupcake mix, our cases, and I've just grabbed a tablespoon and a teaspoon, and all I'm going to do is take a tablespoon of mixture and then literally just scrape it in to my case. Now the one thing is you don't want to overfill these. You want there to be enough space so it rises, but you can also pipe and stay within your case. Otherwise your piping can run off the edge and it gets a bit messy. So you just want to go down each one. It doesn't have to be, you know, really la-di-da fancy. Just get your tablespoon and shove it in. It doesn't need to be neat, because we're going to tidy it up before they go in the oven. And then if we have any spare left at the end, we can go back through and top them up. So our bowl is near enough empty. I'm just going to use a spatula to scrape down the sides to get that last bit, because you don't realise unless you scrape it how much is actually left. So there's quite a whack there. So I'm just going to share that out between all of our cases. You might notice as you kind of go through that there are a couple that will look a little bit less. So it's a good time to kind of top them up so you get a nice even bake. So there we go. We'll get that out of the way. And that's all of our cupcake mix in. So all I'm going to do is take my little teaspoon and just gently smooth it out on the top, a little spiral shape. And that's again just to encourage that even baking. It also helps you see if you've overfilled or underfilled any of your cases once they're a bit more level. And there we go. So you might be able to see this one is actually quite low and this one is quite high. So I'm just going to kind of share a little bit across. I mean, you know, this isn't a bake-off. We're not weighing out everything precisely in each cupcake case, but you just want to make sure that they're roughly the same. Otherwise you'll get some that like shoot up and are ginormous, and some that, you know, might look a little bit sad. So you just want to make sure you've got a fairly even split across them all. And I think they're all looking pretty good, so I'm just going to get ready to put them in the oven. One thing to be careful of, if you get any mixture that goes between your cupcake cases, it sounds silly but something about it can really upset your rise of your cupcakes. So if you get any that goes between them or kind of sticks the cases together, just give it a little wipe with a paper towel or a tissue, and then hopefully your cakes will rise a bit better. When we put these in the oven, we're going to turn the oven down to around 150 degrees. And that means that we'll get a lovely rise to start with, but they won't get that little bobbly mountain on the top. We should get a nice flat top, which is what we want, as that's perfect for piping on. So I'm going to pop these in the oven, and we will see you in 15 minutes. Okay, so our cakes are out of the oven, they've just started to cool down, so I'm going to start on the buttercream. I've got my mixer again, because that gives a really nice fluffy texture, and then I've put my butter part B in our bowl. So just like before with the cakes, I'm going to give this a really good beat until it's nice and soft. And there we go, so just like it was with the cakes, we don't want to overbeat it because that can make your buttercream go really runny. And then I'm just going to rest that on there. And all you want to do now is get your little bag of icing sugar. And all we're going to do is slowly add 1 tablespoon of icing sugar and mix it, and then just gradually keep going until you're at the end of your bag. So once you're happy, you just want to pop this to the side, so I'm just going to push it to the back. And then we're going to start making holes in our cupcakes to put our jam in. Okay, so it's time to do our cupcakes. These are what they look like coming out of the oven. So they went in for 40 minutes at quite a low temperature. I put them in at 150 in the end. But as you can see, they've got that really nice flat top, which is perfect for piping. So this is kind of what we're going for, but don't panic if you've got those like domes or they've got a crack in them or anything like that. If they've got a dome, just get a knife like this, you know, your average Joe butter knife, and literally just go across the top and trim it off, and then, you know, you can snaffle it while no one's looking. And if they've got cracks, you're going to be cutting them open in a second anyway to be putting jam and stuff in them, so I really wouldn't panic. No one's going to know because you're going to be covering them anyway. So if they're not perfect, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to put them to the side, and then one at a time, I'm going to get my cupcake and cut at an angle. I don't know if you can see that. So at an angle, in like a little circular motion. And all we're doing is taking a small section of our cake out, like that, little bit, which you can, you know, snaffle if you want to. So we want all our cakes to have this little hole in. So I'm just going to go through and do them all now. Okay, so that's all of our cupcakes cored. Now it's time to get our jam. So I've put this in a little bowl just to make it easier to get it out, but if you wanted to use it straight from your packet, you can. So again, I've just got 2 little teaspoons, and all I'm going to do, you don't want a lot in these because it is a very strong jam, but you literally just want to scoop just a little bit in there. So when you bite into it, that's going to be quite tasty. So we're just going to do that for all of our cupcakes. So there we are, all of our cakes have some yummy, yummy jam in them. And now it's time to get our buttercream ready. So just want to pop these out of the way and bring our bowl back. Now I've got my spatula again, just so like I did with the cake mix, I can scrape down this side. You don't have to, but it's just easy sometimes to get it all together. And now we're going to prepare our piping bag. So you can do this without, but I recommend a glass. A little tumbler like this will do. Okay, so first things first, you want to get your piping bag and your nozzle. So you'll have a little nozzle like this with a star top. And all you want to do is open up your piping bag and push your nozzle, tip first, all the way to the bottom of your bag, until you notice that it starts to get a little bit tight. So you want to cut it just about halfway up from where it's getting tight around your nozzle top, as it's going to go a little bit further. So I say go slow and steady, cut off less than you think. And then give it a try, and if it's still too tight, they can just trim off a little bit more, but that is a perfect fit. So this is what you should be working with. A nice piping bag and your nozzle at the bottom. And then you want to get your glass. And you can do this in your hand, but I do just find it easier to have the glass. So pop your piping bag in, nozzle first, and then feed your piping bag over the top of your glass. And when you open it up, it just gives you a really nice, easy way to fill it up for your icing. Now with this icing, you don't want to go crazy and try and put it all in one go, because it will just go everywhere. And obviously the longer that you're handling it, the softer it will get because it will be warm. So little on often is the best way. So you just want to take a scoop of your icing and feed it into the glass. And if you're doing this by hand, you can just kind of hold it, make that kind of shape with your hand and do exactly the same action. So you just want to keep pushing it in, avoiding air bubbles. So I've put 2 scoops in there and I'm going to pull my bag up now. Give it a bit of a wriggle and it's come loose. So I'm just going to move my glass out of the way and then squeeze my icing down my bag until you see it start to come through just at the tip of the nozzle. And all you want to do is grip it between that little funny section between your thumb and finger and then twist it round, and that way you've got a good grip on it so it's not going to come shooting out the top, and you can squeeze and guide it with this hand and then make the movement with your other hand. So we'll get our first cupcake, and all you want to do is literally start from the outside and work your way in. Remember, like, no one's judging this, it's just for you, so if it goes a little bit funny because it's the first time, don't panic. So from the outside, you just want to carefully squeeze, don't go crazy, and then with this hand, try not to squeeze, just guide your piping bag around. So squeeze from the top and guide around. Take your time, and you'll see now why we said try and not fill your cases up too much, because it gives a really nice run for your icing. And there you go, just nice little pipe, nice and tidy. So we'll just carry on doing that with all of our cupcakes. When your bag starts getting a bit low, just pop it back in your glass or on your hand. Roll it down again, although this bit can be a bit messy after your first lot. Just pop it open and then refill it. So there we are, we've iced all of our cupcakes. They look adorable. So now it's just to add the final touches. So I'm going to clear down my workbench and make some space so we can give them a bit of a decorate. So I've got all my perfectly imperfect cupcakes. Very, very tasty looking, and my final step is to add my little bit of decoration. So I've got my little pot of sprinkles and I'm just going to go over each one and give them a little spruce.